In this video, I'm going to go over some important configuration options for PG Backrest tool. PG Backrest is one of the common tools which is available in the market. It's open source that can be used to implement disaster recovery strategies for PostgreSQL servers. Meaning you can configure backups, you can perform restore operations, including point-in-time recovery, and also set up replication, streaming replication by using this tool. I'm in this pgbackrest.org website, which is a comprehensive documentation available on how to set up PG Backrest and how to configure it for various operations or various features that described here. Parallel backup and restore, local remote operations, multiple repositories. You can back up your database into multiple repositories, even remote repositories like S3 or Azure Blob Storage, something like that, or even local storage, NFS mount point, something. So it has a lot of features. It's very highly reliable backup solution if you want to investigate and use it for Postgres operations. So what I'm going to describe in this video is how to basically fine-tune some of the options available for Postgres for backup solutions, and also to set up streaming replication in order to continuously archiving the WAL files and continuously restoring the or replaying the WAL files to create a standby operations. You may need to configure all these configurations options properly. Then only you can have a very solid and reliable streaming replication setup for your environment. So I'm going to explain some of the most important configuration options that I came across and that I basically found out doing various type of trial and error work, so that I'm sharing that with you guys. You also can learn that by watching this video. This is the high level architecture of the PG Backrest setup that I have used, and it has 3 servers involved. One is the primary server, which is the server 1, and the standby server is the server 2, and the backup server is the third one. The primary server basically pushes all the WAL files into the backup centralized server, and then centralized server, there's a mount point attached to contain that backup storage. So backup repository is basically attached to the centralized backup server. So archived WAL files will then be used by the standby server to create the standby or warm standby server for Postgres. Basically, it creates a streaming replication between primary and standby server. All 3 servers has the PG Backrest installed. So you can see PG Backrest configuration file is available in this location, both primary and standby, and it is also available in the centralized backup server. All the configuration options that you need to add into this PG Backrest configuration file. So I'll show you what are the optimal parameters that can be used and how to tune that parameters in order to create stable replication between primary and standby. Let's look at the configuration files of PG Backrest. PG Backrest configuration file is located at etc directory, and the file name is pgbackrest.conf. And this is the backup server configuration file. As you can see, there are 2 main sections of this file: global section and the cluster section or stanza section. Stanza in PG Backrest terminology is the cluster name. In this case, the cluster name is cluster 1. You can name your cluster according to the purpose of the application or application name or anything meaningful to or functions of the cluster. Don't name the stanza with the server names, because server names can be changed. In this, if you have multiple clusters to backup, you can add another section underneath this one with that cluster name. Likewise, you can keep on adding multiple sections for different clusters in the same configuration file. In the global section, you can define the repository, backup repository, and this is the place where it takes the backups. It calls repo1 path. And if you have multiple repositories, you can add it as well. You can say repo2 path and you can add that repository. That multiple repositories can be remote repositories. As like I mentioned earlier, it could be Azure Blob Storage or AWS S3 bucket. And you can see the relevant syntax for that by using pgbackrest command reference or user guides. And here it mentioned the retention period of the full backups. Similarly, you can have retention period for differential backup and incremental backups, so that pgbackrest automatically delete the previous backups by keeping latest full backups. And you can define the verbosity levels like this. And there are two additional parameters, stat fast and delta. Under cluster 1, you have to mention the details of the cluster. What is the server name of the primary server and username? This is the operating system user, Enterprise DB. In my architecture of this setup, I have configured passwordless authentication, SSH authentication, between backup server and primary server, and also the backup server and the standby server. So this Enterprise DB user exists on primary server as well as standby server. But in backup server, basically you have pgbackrest user as the operating system level user. You also need to mention the data directory of the primary server and the secondary or standby server. This parameter backup standby to yes means when you are taking backups, it takes the backup from standby server. So it will offload the server resources from primary to standby. In primary server, pgbackrest configuration file is located at the same location and it has the same format as it is in the backup server. So you can see there are two sections, global section and cluster 1 section, and cluster 1 has the details of the cluster 1 data directory, and there's a user called pg1 user backup user. This user is Postgres user. Backup server uses this user to connect to the Postgres primary server, and this is the port connecting that user. This is the EDB advanced server port. If you are using community version of Postgres, it will be 5432. And global section, you need to mention the backup centralized backup server name. In this case, it is backup dash server, and also the centralized server backup server operating system user, which is the pgbackrest user, and verbosity level and delta equal 1. Delta equal yes. Here there's a two parameters, additional parameters. Actually, it's the same parameter, process max and process max. But this process max is applied to archive get, and this process max is applied to archive push. Archive push is the operation that pgbackrest does to push all the WAL files into the archive location of the backup server. Archive get is pgbackrest operation which retrieves the archived WAL files from the backup repository attached to the centralized backup server to the standby server. In primary server, it applies the archive push operation. Process max basically defines for archive push, use 4 threads. You can fine tune this operation to identify the sweet spot of the archive push. If you increase too much, it will basically cause to drop the WAL file sometimes. That happens to me. So I initially put this as 4 and then I increased to 8 in order to speed up the archive push Then what happens was it drops some WAL files, so that replication was broken. So I reduced that to 4 again. That way you can balance the optimal performance, as well as also you can keep the replication intact between standby and primary. You should not define this process max in under just global section right here. If you define like this, then it will apply to all the operation of PG backrest, not only archive get and archive push. If you provide in syntax like this, then this process max is applied only to this operation and also to this operation. So that is the reason this process max is defined in this place. So be careful when you add that parameter right under the global section. PG backrest configuration file of the standby server looks the same as the primary server, except this last option, which is the recovery option. So recovery option has the primary connection info. The standby needs to know how to connect to the primary by using this information. It has the server name, the username, this is the Postgres user, which is used for the replication, and this is the port number to connect to the primary server. I was able to set up the replication using the configuration I just mentioned for PG backrest. However, the streaming replication was broken during the large database restore on primary, and furthermore the PG WAL directory also got full. So the database size I was restoring was little above 200 GB. With PG WAL full situation, the primary server also got shut down. Postgres will give you a clear indication on why the Postgres went down if you observe the Postgres logs. In this scenario, it was due to the fact that WAL archiving couldn't keep up with the pace of WAL files generated. That was due to the PG restore operation of the large database. So even the replication was working, it was not stable when the system was busy. After reading further on PG backrest user guide, I was able to find a configuration called asynchronous WAL archive, which can improve the WAL file archiving process. This section of the PG backrest user guide explains how to configure asynchronous archiving for your PG backrest. In order to do that, you need to add two parameters, archive async equal y and also spool path equal to this location. You need to do this in your primary node. The spool path can be configured with asynchronous archiving enabled. Asynchronous archiving automatically confers some benefit by reducing the number of connections made to remote storage. It also says you can further improve the parallelism by using process max, which we have already covered, and it also says be sure not to set process max so high that it affects normal database operations. That makes sense. I also mentioned that earlier. I tested the PG restore again after enabling asynchronous archiving on PG backrest, but this time also PG WAL directory got full and Postgres server got shut down. To prevent the PG WAL directory getting full, we need to add another parameter to the PG backrest configuration file. That parameter is called archive push qmax. This parameter is to set the maximum size of the PostgreSQL archive queue. Once you set this queue, when that limit is reached, the following will happen. PG backrest will notify the PostgreSQL that the WAL was successfully archived. In actuality, it is not. And then it will drop the WAL file, making room for other WAL files to get into that directory. And also a warning will be output to the Postgres log. So you can see clearly the whole files have been dropped, and also you can see a message saying all files successfully archived, because this one. If you get into this situation, the archive log stream will be interrupted. That means from that onwards, replication will no longer be working, and also as a result, the point in time recovery also will not be possible, because it has not able to archive the whole files into the archive repository. At that time, a new backup will be required to regain full restore capability. The purpose of this feature is to prevent the log volume from filling up, at which point Postgres will stop completely, because that's a situation you don't want to get into, because it will shut down the primary server. Because of that, it's better to lose the backup than have PostgreSQL go down, or better to lose the replication than have PostgreSQL to go down. In the same situation, if you observe the log file, Postgres log file at standby, you will see these error messages. It says unable to find this particular wall file in archive asynchronously, because that has been dropped because of that limit exceeding factor. Also, it says information unable to find this particular file in the archive, and the fatal could not receive data from whole stream error requested whole segment, this one. So this is at standby. At this time onwards, the replication will no longer work. And if you go to the primary and check the error log file, and you will see this error message pertaining to the same whole file. So it says the same whole file has been requested by the standby, but it could not find, because that already has been removed. In order to improve the replication stability, you need to add these parameters to the PG backrest configuration file. Basically, it says archive asynchronously and spool path to store the transient data. This is just a temporary location. These whole files will not be moved to this location. Instead, it will write some metadata information which is necessary for the asynchronous archive process. And also to protect the whole file or whole volume getting filled, you need to add these two archive push Qmax to 100 GB or whatever the limit that is available in your PG whole volume. If the PG whole volume has this much of space, you can certainly add that. In my case, I had 200 gig, so I set this as 100 gig. Maybe I can increase this to further 150 gig or something volume. So after doing these changes, I did another restore and it worked successfully, and replication also did not break. So the situation is now stable. That is the only thing I need to share with you guys. So thanks for watching. See you in another video.